are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Larck, boy take on Twitter, here to talk to y'all today about the latest Auburn football and athletics news, because today, or yesterday really, was the opening of the NCAA transfer portal, the most stressful time of the year, because this is the time where a bunch of experienced collegiate players are looking for new homes. Auburn currently, as it stands, I'll go ahead and just move the topic meter to the transfer portal update. That'll be the first thing we touch on first. Auburn, not really any more new entries, really. Holden Gerners, Michael Rowley, E.J. Harris, Gage Keys, Camden Brown, Gabe Russo, Grant Hidalgo, T.J. Lindsey, Caleb Wooden, Caleb Burton, and Hank Brown have all entered the portal. Now, a new name enters the mix. I don't really know how to take this one. No one's upset. He was removed from the team earlier. Antonio Kite announced that he'll be entering the NCAA transfer portal. I was on the verge of not really reporting on this, but because he wasn't really part of the team anymore. But regardless, former Tiger Antonio Kite has announced he'll be entering the NCAA transfer portal as well. And it's been a wild 24 hours so far. Names entering left and right that I wasn't expecting to see named. And teams already getting predictions for players, which we'll talk about in just a second. But overall, a lot of dudes that Auburn has a chance at, and we'll have a list of some guys that Auburn has already reached out to about getting some visits scheduled this week. And the list is long, and Auburn already in the mix for a guy early. So, biggest update so far for Auburn, I guess, is I was looking at the predictions already, and you got Hank Brown is already predicted to go to Iowa. That's the biggest news bulletin so far for Auburn Tiger or former Tiger transfers. But that's probably the biggest headline so far from that. From any guy leaving Auburn going forward is, of course, Hank Brown being projected to go to Iowa. I think he's the only Tiger predicted to go anywhere so far. But just move on to topic number 2 here. That was just a quick little update on that before I got into what this episode really is about. Auburn predicted to land transfer quarterbacks, former Stanford Cardinal Ashton Daniels, former 3-star recruit out of Buford, Georgia, 6'2", 215. Last year for the Cardinal, 62% completion percentage, 1,700 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. On his career, 3,900 passing yards. He was a quarterback. He's been a 3-year guy at Stanford. Didn't really play his first year. So almost 4,000 yards passing, 21 touchdowns to 20 interceptions. Been sacked 48 times in his 3-year career. Rushing-wise, last year, almost 700 yards rushing as a quarterback, 3 touchdowns on the ground in his career, 1,100 yards rushing, and 9 touchdowns. Also combine that with 4 tackles to get as well. So this is going to be a hot topic for a little bit, because right now this is the only quarterback that Auburn's projected to land. Of course, you have a bunch of other higher-end guys who you're waiting to see from. I know Auburn has some interest in a lot of guys around the portal realm. But Ashton Daniels he's not coming in. He would not be coming into the Auburn job with it being his. And I saw this everywhere. Every Auburn fan and their mother with the Twitter account was freaking out about the crystal balls coming in. I'm sorry to scoot my chair up. About the crystal balls coming in for Ashton Daniels. Watching the film, he's an athletic guy. He's a dual threat guy. He'd probably be the guy you'd put in, and I just said guy 3 times there. He would be a solid backup with P4 experience that would also offer you a more RPO level approach, I presume. You'd have a guy who can put in there to run the football with if you needed short yardage situations, or if you're if your starter goes down, you have someone who can go in and run the football. Because, of course, you never want your backup quarterback to go in and sling the rock. You want a guy to come in and can control the tempo of the game until your starter gets back in. Ashton Daniels would not be coming to Auburn and be the starting quarterback right away. He'd have to battle that out with, of course, whoever Auburn gets left. Remember this, everybody. Auburn is after 2 portal quarterbacks. Ashton Daniels would just be the one. And, of course, probably looking for a closer place to home. Buford's right over the state line from Auburn. So looking for opportunities there. I mean, I think that people are blowing this out of proportion. I never saw Daniels as an acquisition. Regardless, I honestly, before today, I didn't really know the kid until I watched him film. And dude's a dog. I watched him film. Of course, Stanford wasn't the best team in the world, but they had an athletic quarterback who had a turnover issue, yes, but entered the portal. Auburn projected early to grab him. And honestly, it's a solid backup. He's got more years of experience in Power 5/Power 4 than your other 2 guys do, and Deuce Knight and Walker White. And you've explicitly been said that Walker and Deuce are going to need a year or so. Probably Walker meaning another year, and Deuce probably going to need a couple as well. So going forward, Auburn has other guys in their line of sight. They have guys they want to go into season the third year of the Freeze era as the starting quarterback. Hugh Freeze doesn't have time to roll around and not do anything about that. He has to get his guy early. Going forward, you have to have a starting quarterback before spring ball starts in February, right? I believe February is when spring ball officially starts, or March, somewhere in that time period. Spring ball starts soon after the year. You want to have your guy. Ashton Daniels offers you a good look, like backup. It'd be your second string guy unless he balls out and takes the job right away. But this is your 2 guy. And Auburn fans everywhere, quit freaking out. Word of advice, just don't freak out. Be patient. Iron isn't even hot yet. There are so many guys that we're probably still waiting around for to enter the portal. And you have a few guys. I mean, we'll go ahead and just, when we get to the quarterback hot board in a second, and there's some guys who got some updates for, some guys with predictions that we've already talked about prior. But I see Ashton Daniels as an athletic backup quarterback. I would probably compare him to the likes of Robbie Ashford in a way. A guy who is willing to take the ball in his hands and make a play with his legs. And you want that from a backup quarterback. You want that gamer level attribute from your backup quarterback. And of course, again, as I said, if he comes in and he balls out and he takes starting job, I mean, if he's better than the other guy you brought in, I mean, that could cause some level of concern. But if he balls out and turns into a SEC caliber quarterback, I mean, who's going to complain then? It's just, you're not going to. I would not be surprised if there isn't another Cam Ward level quarterback in the portal this year. Let me rephrase that in a way that makes more sense. There will not be another Cam Ward level player in the portal this year. But Auburn cannot afford to miss out on higher end quarterback targets. So we'll go ahead and move on from this conversation. Everyone take a deep breath and realize that Ashton Daniels being projected to come to Auburn would mean Auburn has one of the 2 quarterbacks they need to bring in from the transfer portal. And realize that Ashton Daniels would be the presumptive backup to the other portal quarterback that Auburn has to pick up this offseason. I try to paint that as simple as possible because of all the amount of there's a lot of stress going on in the Auburn fan base for the quarterback position, and I understand that. I'm just stressed out about what the 2025 season is going to look like as much as anybody else is. But good Lord. Hugh Freeze isn't going to just get the first guy that says he wants to come to Auburn right away and make him the starter right away. You got guys who we've talked about before. Just to get to those guys, I mean, Caden Salter is the only one I've seen thus far in the past 24 hours that has mentioned the opportunity of scheduling a visit to Auburn. Of course, guys like Miller Moss, I've not heard anything with him in Auburn. Auburn was allegedly going to be showing interest to him, but it looks like Miller Moss might not be headed to the Tigers from early looks, I guess. And, of course, the portal just opened. Might I remind everybody, the portal just opened. Darian Mensah, not heard much about him yet. Connor Wegman, not heard much about him. But a big thing here, Jackson Arnold, the Oklahoma quarterback, has gotten some projections to go to the Mississippi State Bulldogs, which I find very shocking for a lot of different reasons. I understand his offensive coordinator from last year was there. Jeff Lebby is now the head coach of Mississippi State, but State has a quarterback in Michael Van Buren Jr. I think Van Buren was one of the highlights of Mississippi State season last year. And I think he was a good bridge, not a good bridge quarterback, but he was a good quarterback to move forward with. I think he showed a lot of promise and could end up turning Mississippi State back into a high-powered, efficient offense. I think Arnold will be a weird pickup for them because I think if you pick up Arnold, you're forcing Buren out. And Buren just came off of a really decent season for him. For I don't want to say for him, but for Mississippi State. I think Van Buren's going to be a good quarterback in the future. But, it looks early like Jackson Arnold would be potentially going to Mississippi State. Other guys, I mean, Thomas Castanella's not really heard much from him about where he'll be getting visits to. A lot of the guys Auburn's been will predict to show interest in early. I've not heard much, but again, portal just opened up yesterday. I have to keep enunciating that because of the amount of people I saw on Twitter yesterday. They were just freaking out about the littlest things happening in the portal. I will say one of the weird things I did see was Kevin Concepcion, which I got the name right, NC State wide receiver. I thought it was weird that he's getting a lot of traction with Alabama. I thought it was very weird for a number one wide receiver to go and be the third option at a team that didn't utilize their wide receiver 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 at all this season. So I thought that was weird for that to happen. That's just it bugs me a little bit whenever guys go to a bigger school just to waste their last years of college. Concepcion is going to be an NFL caliber wide receiver. And I think going to Alabama will be the worst move of his career. But we talk about some portal players eventually going to be coming to the Tigers for a visit. Talk about wide receivers. I just kind of rant about Kevin Concepcion from NC State, but Auburn in the mix for a wide receiver who will be visiting this week, and Auburn showing a lot of strong promise for him as well. It's between from on 3. It's between Auburn and Georgia for Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. And his 2 years at Georgia Tech, he has 104 catches, 1,400 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Last season, 56 catches, 754, and 3 touchdowns. Absolute dog of a receiver. Also was able to carry the ball 21 times for 131 yards and a touchdown on the ground as well. Even threw a pass in 2023 and completed that. So, of course, you need a quarterback. There you go. Also had 3 tackles, which I always find interesting to read the tackle stat. But, yeah, from what I've been seeing, he's going to have a visit this week. And on 3 has him projected to either land at Auburn or Georgia. Those are the 2 highest traction there. Of course, now as I updated, Auburn now the heavy favorite per on 3 to land Eric Singleton, who by 21 on 3 is the number 1 player currently in the NCAA transfer portal. So it would be a huge pickup. Auburn looking to find someone to take up the KLS spot. Of course, you're going to have more passes or more opportunities all around for the wide receivers. You expect Perry Thompson to move up in the depth chart with some departures and guys who didn't get utilized as much. So Cam Coleman, Malcolm, Perry, and then, of course, if you had Eric Singleton, I mean, you have a wide receiver room that doesn't really seem to drop off from what you got from last year. Of course, KLS, one of the best receivers in Auburn football history, just cut and dry. Yeah, Eric Singleton would be a massive, massive pickup for this Auburn offense. And getting a guy that might lock in early before you even get your quarterback in would be huge as well. A few more guys. I don't really have stats for a lot of these guys because they're pretty much on the newer words are hard. Visits projected for Auburn right now. UConn running back Darrell Robinson. Wake Forest wide receiver Horatio Fields. Northwestern offensive lineman Josh Thompson. Arizona left guard Wendell Moe. And Fresno State linebacker Phoenix Jackson, and plenty more on the way for Auburn football. Of course, this is going to be a very hefty transfer portal class coming through. Auburn has a lot of – I don't say Auburn has a lot of positions that need talent added to them. They just need depth, and they need some starters added in. Of course, quarterback is the big ticket item there. I think you need one wide receiver. Once you get one or two, I guess you can get two. But one or two guys, I think you're done wide receiver. Looking at tight end, I know a couple of tight ends have been added to the list. I think Oklahoma's tight end, Bauer Bauer Sharp. There we go. I cannot remember his name. So yeah, Bauer Sharp on the list as well. But a lot of dudes that can offer potentially starting minutes right away. Of course, Auburn needs some offensive linemen. They need tight ends. And I think mostly you need some guys on defense. I don't think you need a lot of starters over there. You need more depth. Defensive back was barren after your starters had to take a break. So you probably need some guys to fill up those roles. With Durkin potentially returning, hopefully fully returning. I don't think they've actually made an announcement because I always expect if he has another great season next year, I think Durkin could potentially go for a head coaching job because he would definitely have earned it if he turns Auburn's defense into a 2-year powerhouse. But the way he constantly is rotating guys, you need constant depth being added. So I'm looking at defensive linemen. I'm looking at linebacker, safety, corner. Every position really needs probably one or so guys to come in and just be depth. And they'd all be utilized. I mean, you're looking at guys like Philip Bleedy, who had a decent season despite having to deal with some injuries. I mean, even guys like Trill Carter, who didn't get utilized a lot. You had Gage Keys not get utilized a lot. But you need need depth guys coming in. And I think a lot of these guys could get utilized a lot more than what we saw last year. But you need like a Dorian Mausi. You need that production to return to kind of go alongside the linebackers you have. I mean, DeMarcus Riddick's going to be your one guy, which is going to be awesome to see happen next year. But yeah, that's pretty much all the list so far. A lot of those visits are going to be happening this week. I don't know when exactly the portal window closes. I know they have a new schedule, so I don't know how long you actually have. I know there's 2 portal windows, if I'm not mistaken. I just need to make sure that I get those right, because they change it every single time because they're trying to fix stuff. Portal will open for college transfer portal open scheduled for 30 days during the 2024-25 academic season. Just open for business on December 9th, close on December 28th. That's not 30 days. So yeah, you got 19 days to choose where you're going to go, which I don't know if that's a lot of time, but there will be a portal window, a 10-day portal window in April from the 16th to the 25th. That will be time for you to pick up guys that you not missed out on, but after spring practice, positions that you need to reevaluate. But you got to strike gold right now. In this window, you have to strike gold going forward. So, yeah, quarterbacks, not really an update there. Again, the only guy who's been really getting Auburn looks right now is Ashton Daniels. Talked a lot about him. And, of course, Caden Salter, as they've mentioned, the Auburn is still showing interest in Caden Salter. So, nothing much to hear from. Hopefully, we get more information as the week continues. And, of course, we're going to get a quick little break. Outside this break, we're going to get out of here. after talking about Auburn moving nowhere in the AP poll. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program. Of course, that's available on thewarreport.com. First page, college loop hat. Second page, Feelin' Loopy t-shirt with clothing items you're going to wear in your entire life. That's only one way you can support the show, though. Of course, the best way you can support the show, the way you can get to my heart the fastest is by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Leave your thoughts on the Auburn quarterback portal search. Are you overreacting over the potential acquisition of Ashton Daniels? Are you being more reasonable about it like I am? Going forward, and of course, who are you wanting? Of course, we talked about on the live stream, a lot of people were mentioning who they wanted. Darian Mensah is going to be a guy we'll be talking about a lot because of the interest a lot of the subscribers talked about on the live stream. So I'll constantly mention what his status is looking like. I don't know if Auburn picks up Mensah because it's a younger quarterback, and of course you have two other guys after that are also you can't bring in a redshirt. He'd be a redshirt sophomore. But you can't have a redshirt sophomore. You have a junior coming in if you get Daniels, and then the guys you already have on roster are a redshirt freshman and then a frosh. So let me know what you think in the comment section below for that. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So Auburn men's basketball AP poll came out yesterday at 12 o'clock. And Auburn did not move at all, which is I'm glad they've saw the loss to Duke as a quality enough loss not to move them. Clearly, the refs did not have a hand in the voting. Auburn still had 3 first-place votes, which I think is a little low. Tennessee, of course, moved up 2 spots to 1 after still remaining undefeated with their Mickey Mouse schedule. Of course, I'm going to throw some shade, but Tennessee is a very good team. Of course, I think they are a top 5 team in the country. They just don't have the schedule to really back it up, but they're winning by a good chunk of points. Auburn plays against Tennessee January 25th. And right now it's a 1v2 matchup. And that's a nice little strand of games right there for Tennessee down in the SEC. You got Mississippi State, who's now ranked, by the way. Kudos Mississippi State. I didn't even check how many SEC teams were ranked. State, Ole Miss, A&M, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Auburn, and Tennessee. Only 8 teams. Well, that's still a lot. That's half the SEC is ranked. I still think you have room for a lot of these other teams to get in as well. Did I skip? Oh, 9. I skipped Oklahoma. So yeah, 9 teams in the SEC are ranked. Still room for a lot of these teams to still get in there. Yeah, Auburn currently at number 2, not moving an inch. Of course, up next for Auburn basketball is the Ohio State Buckeyes this Saturday in Atlanta. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it's a holiday hoopsgiving is what it's called. I'm looking up Alabama, not Auburn. There we go. Auburn basketball, if I'm not mistaken, holiday hoopsgiving this Saturday at 12 o'clock p.m. CST. Of course, holiday hoopsgiving. Auburn takes on 6-3 Ohio State. Auburn currently a favorite to win the game. Thursday, we will have a preview show for it. Something flies in my eye. And of course, Thursday, we will be grading the transfer portal acquisitions for the 2024 season as the season is officially over. Auburn didn't get a bowl game, officially not getting a bowl game. So that's sad, but we will spend the time over the offseason grading how Auburn did, starting off, of course, this Thursday with transfer portal players. I think you already assume where a lot of these guys are going to get, of course, KLS. It's going to be an easy grade to predict. But with that being said, you're going to have to tune in for the Thursday show to see my grades on that. So, with that being said, thanks for watching some of the College Loop Podcast. I'm, of course, Dylan Larck, ABLETing on Twitter. Of course, you got me Instagram as well at Dylan Larck, DYLENLARCK. And, of course, you can be writing in the College Loop Podcast. If you like, comment, subscribe. Again, leave your thoughts on the Auburn quarterback portal quarterback search. There we go. and who you think would be the best fit for the Tigers going forward to the 2025 season. And don't forget, again, like, comment, subscribe. Yet again, just saying it as many times. They say if you repeat something enough, it starts to lock in the brain. So then, once I say it one more time, if you like, comment, subscribe, maybe you just like do all three at once. That's how repetition works. And of course, check us out on social media pages as well, on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works, all those at the College Loop visual aid up there. And of course, audio versions of the show available as well on Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, of course, Amazon Music. And of course, all that being said, thanks for watching some of the College Loop podcast. And as always, War Eagle.